Hey guys, today I want to talk about my main camera, the Nikon Z6 II, and I have a few points in front of me with pros and cons. But first of all, I want to talk about how long I have the Nikon. I have the Nikon Z6 nearly 2 years. I brought it back in June, July 2021 in combination with the 24 to 70 millimeter, which is mounted on right now. 4.0, that's enough for landscape photography in my case. And I also have here two prime lenses, 35 millimeter 1.8 and the 50 millimeter 1.8, both for portrait and also for the wedding photography. And yes, maybe first of all, why I choose the Nikon. Yes, it's also my first point on the list. So the dynamic range on Nikon cameras or in Nikon cameras are so good, and that's especially important in landscape photography. For all the people who don't know what is dynamic range. Dynamic range is the area between the brightest and the darkest point in one image. So, for example, you shoot a sunset or a sunrise, and then you have a very bright point like the sun, and very dark points like shadows. And the better the dynamic range is, or the wider, if more information can fit in one image. The camera can fit more information in one image. And the Nikons are very good. Also, the Sonys and Canon are also good. But the Nikon is a little bit better. And yeah, this was my main reason back in 2021 why I brought this camera. But it will come also to some other points. For all the people who don't have a mirrorless camera right now, and I also changed from a DSLR, a Canon 750D, good old times, and then I changed to a mirrorless camera, and it's huge. It's really insane. When you have an old DSLR and never touched or never had a mirrorless camera in your hand, try it out. It's a huge evolution, development. I don't know how to say it. Especially the autofocus, but I will come later to it. So, pros and cons on this camera. I already mentioned the first point, the dynamic range. Second point is the viewfinder and also the back display. Not in general, but the resolution and the quality are very good, especially from the viewfinder. I don't know, when you want technical informations, look it back or look it down in the technical information of the camera. I want to talk about my how to say it, my feelings, my experience I have with this camera. And I remember the viewfinder is very good, especially in sunny conditions. Then the viewfinder makes an insane job. Also, the display is very good. You can change the brightness. So in every time I didn't have any issues with the viewfinder or the back display. And also when I take a shot and I look through the viewfinder and then I can see it, sometimes the image looks so good. When I'm back here and saw the RAW on my screen, where's the image? Because you see already the JPEG in the viewfinder and not the RAW file on your PC when you imported it. Next point, a little point for landscape photography is the camera is completely weather resistant, not water, but weather resistant. So there's no problem when you shoot in snow or rain, or sometimes this was for me sometimes an issue in the DSLR times when there are any weather. I remember I have a large plastic bag every time with me when it's in my camera bag. When it's rain, I put it on my camera. And, with this camera, I don't have any issues. It's weather sailed, so no problem at all. So next point is more technical point, maybe also. I will show it. Here is a little switch between the photo and the video mode. And this is not so important maybe for the landscape photography in general, but for wedding photography, I really like the switch because for all the people who don't know that Tobias and I, my wedding bro, we take a few weddings every year, and we not only shoot photos, we also shoot videos. And sometimes it's the case that Tobias shoots the photos, or in many cases Tobias shoots the photos and I shoot the video. And we have two different perspectives because we are two people. And when I take the video first, or that's my workflow, I take the video first, and then I can switch only with this blip. And then I'm in photo mode. And that's so nice and easy because I can reach it with my thumb. So it's very good and very easy to use. And remember back on my Canon, I have to use this dial, and that was very annoying because in this dial, I have more freedom with this switch. Maybe I can explain it with I have all the menu points, like the manual modes, automatic modes, shutter speed automatics, and so on, ISO automatic and aperture automatic on this dial. And when I switch between photo mode and video mode and manual, I have all freedoms. And when I switch it in automatic mode, I have everything set by the camera in both modes. Not only in the photo mode, also in the video mode. And that's, in my case, is very good, I believe. Most of the time I use the manual mode, but I find it's a good freedom, a good solution, so I like it. Especially this switch. This switch. So, next point. Maybe important for you when you are a bit have larger hands and you're a bit higher like me. I'm 190. I have a bit larger hands, and I'm a male, so women have a bit smaller hands. The Nikon or mirrorless cameras in general have a very small grip because the technical parts are more fitted in this large case. So sometimes there are problems with the grip. I have no problem to take or to fit all my 3 fingers and on the grip. And here I can take the shutter, no problem at all. But sometimes I have the A7, which has Tobias has the A7 III, I believe. And the grip of the Sony is a bit smaller. And I have the problem that my little finger I cannot take it on the grip by the Sony. So I have down here, and it's a bit annoying. Also a good point is that all the important buttons I can reach with my thumb on the back side. I can also take a little video and blend it in right now. And yes, that's also very good. I have the shutter here, shutter speed here. I have the shutter here. I have record for video. I have ISO here. I have aperture here. Everything important is here. Also the eye menu. So it's very good. I can use it one-handed. For me, it's perfect in handling, in whatever, in grip. Perfect, really. Yes. Next point is the menu. The menu, not in general, maybe more between. It's more the case, or I recognize it when I brought the Z50, who's filming me right now. And both cameras, the Z6 and the Z50, have nearly common menu. And that's not only the case between these two cameras, it's also the case between all the cameras. So when you come with the, I don't know, Nikon D850 from, I don't know, it's 2060, 2070 or 2080, you can also find everything in the Z6 menu. There are a few different points, logically, but in general, you know how to use the menu and how to find everything, or nearly everything. That's especially an interesting point for the Sony users, because very often I see camera reviews from different Sony cameras and the menu is every time different. So the Alpha 3 have a different menu than the Alpha 4, and the S3 have a different menu than the R2 and something like that. And for me as a Nikon user, I don't have this problem. Maybe that's also only a case of, yeah, you have a second camera, definitely, but maybe that's will be a problem for you. For Canon, I don't can say anything. I don't have a new Canon camera in my hands. So yeah. Next point is battery life. I can remember when the mirrorless cameras came out, battery life was a huge discussion point, because all these cameras processing a lot with information, data. It's like they are little computers. And that's different from the DSLRs, because the DSLRs have so good batteries. You can use it 2-3 days in a row. It's not a problem. But this one, not so long. But right now, after some development over the years, the battery life is fine. For me, landscape photography, I have one battery, very often only in use. For wedding photography, I have 2 batteries, just as a backup, because I need it. I need the second battery, but only when I'm filming. When I just shoot photos, one battery is enough. When you're filming, you need it. But yeah, if you just want to take photos, one battery is enough. But the batteries for the mirrorless cameras are not so expensive, so that's not a big deal. Next point, the lenses. What I want to say is 35 millimeter and 1.8 50 millimeter. I believe this one is around 700 to 800 euro, and this one is around 500 to 600 euro, I believe. And this one 24 to 70, I don't know, to be honest. But for full frame lenses, I believe they are, don't want to say very cheap, but they have a very good price for what they can do. Yes, they are only 1.8, but for me, it's enough, to be honest. On weddings, I shoot mostly with 2.0 or 2.2, but that's a topic for another video. And for this one, 24 to 70 millimeter f.4 in landscape photography, I never go on f.4. Most of the time I'm at 8.0 or 9.0, I believe. I mean, yes. And so that's, for me, these lenses are very good, and like I said, not so expensive. When you go, or when you look down to Sony, there's many more. I come to this in the next point, but there are also very expensive lenses. So you cannot compare this with or maybe better the 50mm with the G Master 50mm from Sony. It's in a 1.2 or 1.4, I don't know. But the price are around 2,000 euro, I believe. I don't know if you want it, but for me, as a semi-professional photographer, 2,000 euro are large, a huge amount of money. You can brought a new camera from that. Yes, lenses are more important than cameras. Don't care. So, but you know what I want to talk about, or what I mean. Next point, the cons. The cons on this camera. I not only want to do the pros. There are a few cons also. First point are, this is why the lenses are here. There are only a few third-party lenses in the Nikon Z universe right now. In the case of the 35 and 50mm, there are also 24, 35 and 50mm from Wildworks, and before I brought these two, I really thought about, should I buy the Wildworks lenses, because the Wildworks lenses are cheaper. They are around, I don't know, 300 to 400 euro, so half of the price of the 35, by the way. But I use them professional, semi-professional, and the original Nikons are better in image quality and stuff like that. But there are also options for people who don't have a huge amount of money or a higher amount of money. And if I don't are a wedding photographer, I don't had brought these two. I would brought the Wildworks instead. And yes, that's an important point. But also, what I want to say in general is there are not so many third-party lenses like in the Sony universe. When you look to Sony, there are Sigma, there are Tamron lenses, there are, I don't know, there are so many Sony lenses. But for all the people who say, that's an important point, lenses, yes, it's half of the camera. I believe for me, look it down on the Nikon page. For me, every important lens is built, or you can buy it for Nikon. In my case, there are good landscape photography lenses, there are good prime lenses. So everything you need is there. Yes, there are many more in Sony universe, but sometimes there's also the point which, when you have a Sony camera maybe, write down in the comments, is it the case? You have really to look which lens you should buy, because there are, I don't know, 10 different 50mm lenses, for example. For Nikon, there are two. The better one and more expensive, or the bit not so expensive and not so good lens. So easier to buy one or to make a decision. Yes, next point. I have a look here. Okay, it's good. My time code is running here. Next point, autofocus. For all the people who are a bit deeper in the camera world, okay, the Nikons don't have a so good autofocus like Sony have, like Canon have. Yes, that's the case. But for me, from a DSLR user, the autofocus is amazing, really. When I remember back with my old Canon and then a 50mm, the autofocus was really. And with this one, it's so good. Yes, sometimes I would say, okay, why you don't see there a face or an eye, and Sony or Canon would see that eye or this face. But when you know how this autofocus work by Nikon, then you also know how to use it. That would I put. That's my case. That would I would say. So yes. So that's maybe a bit of a con. When you're a professional portrait photographer or professional wedding photographer, or you want to be one, yes, maybe Nikon is not the best option, but yeah, for me, it's very, very good. But you can also test it. And yes, but there are only, how to say it in English. In German, we have the nice word Nuancen. It's something like that. Only small things, like something like that. Yes, and the last point, and it's a point I really, I hope they will change it. Nikon, please change it. On the, I don't know which camera will be next, the Mark III the Mark III Z6 and Z6 and Mark 7 Z6 and Z7 Mark III will be next, hopefully sometime, I don't know, someday. This display, I said yes, build quality, the display resolution, and the display resolution is very fine, the viewfinder and the display, sorry, but this thing is bad. Why? Okay, I can turn it out, and that's very good. When I shoot vertical and I'm filming, that's a good option. I can stabilize with my hand like that, and I can see anything. That's very good. And also when I photograph like that, very near to the ground, in landscape photography, that's fine. But in vertical, I can show you that you have only this option. You cannot turn it up or turn it down or anything like that. It's fixed. I can pull it in, but it makes not any difference. And yeah, this really is my biggest con on this camera. In times of Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and so on, vertical videos are more important than ever. Also in like Instagram, vertical photos are more important than ever. And I really like also to take vertical photos. And this one is a very bad solution, because when I try to make a photo near to the ground, I cannot see it from up here. Maybe I can turn it around. I cannot see it here. I have to go down to see it. So I have to go down to the ground, and that's not a good option. Not a good option. For vertical, bad. For horizontal, good. But hopefully they will make it a little bit different. My old Canon had a better option. It's, I don't know, you can pull it out. You can also pull it to the side. That was a very good option. Yes. And yeah, these are my pros and cons on the Nikon Z6 Mark II. I don't know if there will be a Mark III. Hopefully they will change this display. And yes, thank you very much for watching. And I hope, if you have a camera, write down in the comments which camera do you have and which are your pros and cons on your camera. Then we can discuss a bit about it. And if you have any questions, also write down. Hopefully I can answer it. And I hope you like the video. Make a thumbs up. And see you in the next video. Bye bye. Whew. So, little outro. Yeah, I already said it at the back in the last video. I'm not perfectly in English, but don't care. This time is the third try. The first 2 tries are last week for this video. I tried to record it last week, and I have a problem with Oh, it was sometimes with anything with audio. And yes, no, not yesterday. Is the day before yesterday. I shoot it again, and I also have difficulties with the audio. Fourth time. It's the fourth take. But this is important for me. I like to make these videos, and hopefully any entertainment factor for you is important information for you. Yes, I really, really like to do it. So please make a thumbs up and see you in the next video. Bye bye. You are important. Have a nice day.